If it hadn't been for this chance encounter, one of perfumery's most important pioneers might have been completely forgotten. The history buffs amongst you might have heard of the great Paul Parquet, the creator of Fougère Royale, a scent that kick-started a whole genre. But few people know of his young apprentice, Robert Bienaimé, who created a scent for the same house which actually surpassed the popularity of his mentors. But perhaps more important than popularity, Bienaimé's work was crucial because at this point in history, few other people had realised that perfumery was about to profoundly change. My name's Samuel and this is the Fiole Buying Guide to Bienaimé. The advent of synthesis was about to open up the gates to a world of benefits and creations that perfumery had never seen before. Bienaimé's Quelques Fleurs was not just a beautiful floral bouquet, it was part of a scented revolution. His lifelike floral had been created using synthetic materials, a relatively new technique that was turning the art form on its head, and proving that despite a history that spanned millennia and was steeped in tradition, it was possible to still have new ideas. Bienaimé's Quelques Fleurs is often considered to be the first ever synthetic floral bouquet, but this seminal piece of work wasn't even the most profound thing he achieved. Because when his mentor passed away, Robert Bienaimé was so aggrieved that he couldn't see how he could have a future in his current role. So he left, started anew, and founded a house all of his own, Bienaimé. And that is where our story begins. To thank you for being here in the early days of our YouTube channel, we've not even made it to 10 videos yet, we are giving away a bottle of the brand new Venice Rococo. This fresh burst of powdery florals is the latest release from Artisan, a house founded by an architect that specializes in historical restoration. Carlos's work is carried through to the scented world, where he uses fragrance to capture lost moments in time. So you don't just have wonderful fragrances to wear, but a sense of the story and the emotions that surround it. In this case, we're going to 1757 to discover a secret hideaway in a Venetian alley. To win, all you have to do is sign up via the link in the description. Our newsletter gives you updates on the latest in the world of fragrance, as well as exclusive access to the Fiole Vault, and it's where we'll announce the winner of our Venice Rococo. If you've missed the cutoff date, don't worry, there will be more to come, so make sure you hit subscribe and follow our channel. Imagine if you knew that your hobby was about to change the course of your life. This is Cecilia, a Parisian who worked in fashion but had a serious passion for all things Art Deco. One day at a flea market, Cecilia had been hunting for beautiful treasures, as she often did, when she stumbled on what she thought was a rather beautiful powder box. This box contained a name which she had never seen before on a beauty object. The name translates to well loved. As soon as Cecilia got this powder box home, she was compelled to find out what Bienaimé was and where this beautiful object had come from. What she discovered was that Bienaimé wasn't just a person, he was a pioneer. Robert Bienaimé hadn't passed his house on to anyone, so when he died, the house died with him. She had found a lost treasure and felt it was her duty to bring it back to life. So this is when the research began. Cecilia started by buying the rights to the name Bienaimé, met the only surviving member of his family, and began to build an archive. She knew that the world doesn't need just another perfume brand. It had to be something special. So the Bienaimé of today is a very different phenomenon. One of the main reasons that Cecilia loved beauty objects from the early 20th century was because they're not just beauty objects, they were objects of beauty. Unlike modern products, they went beyond just function. They were beautiful adornments to your life and to your home. Cecilia had recognized something that many people had missed, were that many of the beauty objects from the early 20th century were already sustainable, in that you wanted to keep them forever. Cecilia sought out artisans from all over France who had the skills to create a product like that of 100 years ago. The bottles are refillable, the glass is hand-blown, the packaging is reusable and recyclable. But Cecilia was not just trying to tick boxes. She was trying to create a house that shared the same principles that drew her to that powder box in the first place. For me, this is the perfect floral. This is La Vie en Fleurs by Bienaimé. When you hear a floral described as powdery or full of rose, you might think it's going to be very old-fashioned. But even though this is inspired by a bygone era, it still feels wildly contemporary. Raspberry, rose, peony. Fresh, floral, soft. I get the powder, but I think with the fruit it becomes effervescent rather than dusty. This is La Vie en Fleurs by Bienaimé. Life in bloom or life in flowers. This fragrance is the perfect introduction to Bienaimé. There's no one I've introduced the house to who doesn't fall in love with this straight away. Nicola Bon from On the Scent said that this was the scent of pink. She means that it's a sophisticated floral bouquet. And I think she's spot on. This is Vermeil, and it almost encapsulates the entirety of the Bienaimé brand. Vermeil to me is very early 20th century. It's an aldehydic floral, so think Chanel No. 5. It's reminiscent of lipstick, and I don't mean that it's evocative of the feeling of putting on a deep red lip. I mean it smells like the makeup itself. In no way are they samey, but what you'll notice throughout this video is that there is a certain characteristic that flows through all of Bienamé's fragrances. Vermeil also has a powdery quality to it, but it also has those aldehydes which make it effervescent, and I feel there's a real dryness to this perfume which feels very sophisticated. It is a deeply nostalgic fragrance. Jours Heureux, Jours Heureux, Jours Heureux, Jours Heureux, Jours Heureux. Oh my god. Jours Heureux in my terrible French accent. I'm yet to find a Brit that can pronounce it properly, myself included. I probably shouldn't say this, but this one genuinely is my personal favourite. As I've said before, it's got that wonderful powdery Bienaimé quality to it. But underneath, there is a sort of vanillic warmth that really sings to me. We're told that the only top note in this fragrance is almond. But it's not foodie or gourmand. It adds a soft warmth. Our friend Sam at Character Perfumes described this as a comforting hug. And Cecilia often describes it as a soft knit, and they couldn't have got it more right. It might mean happy days, but to me, it's Bienamé's evening fragrance. Fleurs D'Été. This summer floral pays homage to the creations of Robert Bienaimé. It might be a contemporary scent, but it is very much inspired by the classics. When bringing Bienaimé back to life, Cecilia worked closely with Osmotec, a company that specializes in fragrance preservation. And this is very much inspired by an original creation of Robert Bienaimé that she tried with them. One of the key ingredients of Fleurs d'Été is ylang ylang, the flower of flowers. Some people describe it as a bright, rich jasmine, but the interesting thing about it is it has a white chocolate accord. It's a smooth, fresh, rich floral. If Jours Heureux is your evening scent, then this is your bright summer's day. What's wonderful about Bienaimé is that Cecilia has created not just fragrances, but a whole world. You of course have the beautiful perfumes, but she also pairs those with a body balm, liquid soap, bar soap, and even home fragrance. I won't talk about every product, but I will go through an air de jazz. It's inspired by the jazz clubs of the 1930s and 40s, and is full of rich clove and cardamom. Counterbalanced with rose, to me, it has an almost masculine floral quality to it. Of course, as a Bienaimé product, it's designed as a beautiful object. Once the candle is burnt out, you're left with a beautiful piece of hand-painted French porcelain. It's not unusual for a brand to be brought back to life, but it is unusual to find a brand that deserves to be brought back to life. Cecilia's found a gem in Bienaimé, and it feels a real privilege to partner with someone who is so forward-thinking when it comes to the world of perfumery. Before I go, I want to leave you with this. Whilst doing her research, one of the things that Cecilia discovered time and time again was just quite how well-loved Robert Bienaimé was himself. It seems that everyone she met had nothing but good things to say about him, and he really lived up to his name. And one thing that feels kind of magical is that Cecilia has almost created a bond with Robert Bienaimé. She's even said to me herself that in some way she loves him, and you can feel that love through everything she has created with him. Bienaimé is a treasure from the past, but very much fits into the present and the future, and I can't wait for you to try it. If you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe. We can't wait to tell you more about the wonderful world of Fiole. Don't forget to enter our competition via the link below, and we look forward to seeing you next time.